Hello and welcome to Stadia Rokks. If like me you love gaming but life gets in the way, then Stadia Rokks is for you. Hello and welcome to Stadia Rokks. As I'm getting over a cold, I thought I'd pre-record today's show so I can edit out all the coughs, so it's only me, I'm afraid. As always, the show covers news, views and reviews around Google Stadia for casual gamers, busy people, and anybody just interested in Stadia. If you enjoy the show, please leave a like and subscribe, or share with your friends. Well, I hope you've had a great week this week just gone by. It's been quite sunny, not too bad. We've seen worse. Of course, we're heading into the winter. But there's certainly been lots to talk about as far as Stadia is concerned. So, without further ado, let's check out the latest news.
The latest news from Stadia.
Stadia revealed a brand new 2.5-minute advert titled Get to Know Stadia, which was widely praised for highlighting all the key points of the platform, making it much more easy for new users to see the benefits. On top of this, through the rest of the week, Stadia's Twitter account was on point with well-cracked and timely comments, delivered with humour and presence. Some commented that this was a response to the recent announcement of Amazon's offering, while others pointed out that pulling together quality marketing assets takes time, and so this is more likely to have been in the world for a while. After months of high expectation, Larian finally released Baldur's Gate 3 in its early access form for Google Stadia and PC. In essence, by paying for the full price game now, players get to play a sizable amount of the as-yet unfinished game, amounting to some 15 hours of gameplay. This also counts as purchase towards the final game. As a turn-based game, people watching live streams are able to choose aspects of a player's turn using the unique feature of crowd choice. Although in a pre-release state, most reports appear to suggest that it is in a fairly solid state, and although undoubtedly with some issues, still is very playable and enjoyable at that. There's no current word as to when the final release will be ready, although it is unlikely to be before the summer of 2021. Finally this week, on the 15th of October, Coat-Sync, who you may remember from their Get Packed game released earlier this year on Stadia, are set to launch Cake Bash, a fun-packed multiplayer game that the family are bound to love, featuring lots of modes called mini-game snacks, and my particular favourite take on the Battle Royale genre called Gato Royale. The game is said to be an instant hit in a week where Coat-Sync also revealed that they had been acquired by Swedish studio Thunderful, makers of the SteamWorld games among many others. It was also announced that Cake Bash would boast cross-play with other platforms due to be released. And that's it for the news this week. Now, in What's Up Rokk, we take a look at a piece recorded earlier in the year on the potential of Amazon's, at that point, unnamed cloud gaming platform and what it could mean to Stadia.
What's up, Rokk?
In today's show, is Amazon the biggest threat to Stadia? Now, arguably Stadia was the first fully formed cloud gaming platform, certainly the first one to achieve the mythical zero lag and pro-level graphics. But they are by no means alone in the field, and although fringe players like Nvidia may not have the size to ultimately dominate, there are plenty of others who could. The key factor that places a competitor in a prime position is having an extensive network infrastructure and a globally positioned army of server clusters. Currently in the right place at the right time are the following: Google, IBM with IBM Cloud, Microsoft with Microsoft Azure, and Amazon with Amazon Web Services. There are other players like Nintendo, Sony, even Activision Blizzard, who are rumoured to be exploring all avenues, but these are not cloud giants in the way the others are. IBM has given no indication of entering the cloud gaming market at all, although they could lease their structure if they felt there was a big enough incentive. That leaves Microsoft and Amazon. We already know what Microsoft's intentions are, as they have been readying their xCloud solution for some time now. With a new console planned for launch at the end of 2020, Microsoft are keen to stress that xCloud is not a replacement for hardware, and that it's aimed at gamers who don't have a console. Microsoft therefore imply that they're not particularly concerned about being the primo cloud gaming platform, and in fact, apart from mobile or PC, users won't be able to play on a television. That's the domain of the console for them, so that gives Stadia a tick in the all screens all the time box. While mentioning Sony, they have been offering a downloadable service of sorts, PS Now, since 2015, but the quality has been experimental at best, and despite moving to a streaming offer last year, take-up has been lackluster. This then leaves Amazon. Amazon has been very tight-lipped about what its intentions are, or even to signify they have any, but there are clues around if you care to look for them. For example, on Amazon's job listings pages in the past have been several posts for cloud gaming engineers and developers. One even said that it was for a yet-to-be-announced game business. They have also dabbled with developing games for cloud in the past themselves too, with demos posted on YouTube. Furthermore, speaking in a recent interview, Microsoft's head of gaming and Xbox, Phil Spencer, revealed that the company sees Google and Amazon as its main competitor in the future. You don't make those sorts of comments without some substance. So what could an Amazon cloud gaming service look like? Well, firstly, we only have to look at what other services Amazon owns to see the shape it could take. For example, they bought Twitch in 2014, which at the time seemed a surprise move and caught analysts off guard. Twitch is a subscription game streaming service that allows players to broadcast their game to any number of viewers. Think YouTube live streaming. If you have an Amazon Prime account, the Twitch subscription price is included. On top of this, Prime comes with a free-to-watch video service, free-to-read book service, and expedited deliveries on parcels purchased through the company, as well as many other benefits. The business model is simple enough. Give a level of stuff away for free with an option to buy higher value stuff alongside it. A few years ago, Amazon began moving into the hardware space to expand the business model. Alexa, for example, Amazon's virtual assistant, is more than happy to take your order or recommend books, videos, or groceries as and when you need them. Other devices, including Amazon Fire Stick, which plugs directly into your TV and allows instant viewing of the Prime Video catalog, as well as a number of other streamed services such as Netflix. The more recent Fire Sticks have an amazing codec with the highest quality streamed video that I've seen on any device. Amazon know how to handle 4K, and that could be very important. Imagine being able to turn your TV on, select your Fire Stick, go on to the Amazon Prime Gaming Services app, select a game from a library of hundreds or from your own purchased titles, picking up your Bluetooth controller and jumping straight in. Or how about visiting Twitch on your laptop, seeing your favourite streamer playing Call of Duty, tapping the Amazon Prime Gaming button and playing the action for yourself? Sound familiar? Yes, it would in principle be an almost identical experience to Stadia, except with one key difference. Amazon would almost certainly build their gaming service into Prime for no extra charge, as that is what they have always done with their added services. The value for them is in the purchases that you will make once you're in that ecosystem, and of course, you will. Now let's pause here to reflect. This does sound a lot like Stadia. Stadia have a head start, and we don't even know what would be underpinning Amazon's service. Would it be a PC infrastructure that allows existing games to run straight away, or a hybrid custom build like Google's? What we do know with absolute clarity is that Amazon Prime in the US alone surpassed 105 million signed up members last year. That's almost 104.5 million more than Stadia right now. And across all other territories where Prime exists, there are at least a similar number. 200 million Prime members primed to go. Now, of course, we have no way of telling how many of these would show any interest in a cloud gaming service, but to put it into perspective, there are somewhere around 50 million fully paid up Xbox Gold Live members, which would be the prerequisite for xCloud. A quarter of the entire potential membership in the US alone for an Amazon Prime gaming service. This makes Amazon a sleeping giant. Now, if Amazon were to launch in the next month or so, how could Stadia stay the top dog? Well, it's difficult to see a model that works whilst insisting on the $10 a month sub, £30 a year more than Prime, for example. So in the first instance, I would expect them to completely drop the subscription model and make Stadia free to play at the highest quality settings. As games have to be purchased with Stadia and the infrastructure costs are already taken care of via its other profitable services, Stadia will still wash its face from retail sales and micropayment schemes. They're also currently developing their own unique AAA titles, with studios opening up across the world and existing studios being purchased to speed up the output. As long as in the meantime, enough publishers are content to port their titles across, of course. Now, this is no small task, although as Google becomes more proficient, so does its suite of tools for doing this, and software engines used by game developers to build their titles, such as Unity and Unreal, have been updated with the necessary frameworks to make this a much easier process. The trick here, therefore, is how quickly Google can build a volume user base, because without that, publishers have little incentive to port their games. With it, Stadia is another market worth investing in. Whatever happens, 2020 is definitely the year of cloud gaming, and the race has only just begun. In today's Rokk review, we'll be taking a look at Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Is it a welcome break from everyday life or a game with no point? You may have played Ghost Recon Wildlands on console or PC in the past, or indeed any one of 15 Ghost Recon titles that have popped up in various guises over the years. Breakpoint took a slightly different approach to the previous titles, with more of an RPG or role-playing game feel, and although being criticised at launch for feeling undercooked and in need of a little TLC, Ubisoft have pushed several patches to bring it to a stable and enjoyable position. Breakpoint on Stadia launched with all patches up to date, although with some of the game's original features suspended. But, putting all that to one side, how does Breakpoint stand up as a casual game? Let's run it through the critical eye of a Rokk review to see whether it gets a point or a break. So firstly, how quickly does the game load? Ubisoft has a standard approach across many of their titles, which is a two-part loading procedure. The first part loads choices for the game itself, where you can, for example, choose the character that you want to play, or change settings, or catch up on game news. The second part then loads the game from where you left off or for the first time. This two-stage process can be a little annoying, as 9 times out of 10 you don't need to change your character or see the same news item as the last time. Also, the first stage and second stage can take as long as each other, which of course means twice the loading time. As Breakpoint is a 4K free-roaming third-person shooter, there's a lot of data and game assets to load in, so even under the advantage of Stadia's blisteringly fast server blades, it still takes a bit of time to load in. For a protracted, if not necessary, load experience, Breakpoint gets a 3 out of 5. What about do you pick up where you left off? Breakpoint doesn't literally freeze your last gameplay when you jump out. Instead, it places you close to where you left off on loading back in, and depending on previous progress, will normally reset the mission. This can be frustrating depending on how you were doing the last time, so the answer is not really, although it does a good job of getting you as close as possible. So on this count, Breakpoint also scores 3 out of 5. How easy is the game to play? Well, the good news is that each campaign step, each side mission, each event is broken down into fairly quick to complete activities. You can jump in for a few minutes, tick off another part of a quest and jump out again without breaking a sweat. Ubisoft have also been mindful to make the game enjoyable, no matter what your level of ability, while at the same time keeping the most fun features. Also, as the game progresses, you unlock bivouacs, which are in essence fast travel points, which enable you to get to the action very quickly, and when there you can spawn a helicopter, or any number of vehicles to get you to the next point in double quick time. Breakpoint is the perfect jump in and jump out game for casual gamers and gets a big 5 out of 5 on this front. Is the game rewarding to play? Well, at its heart, Breakpoint is a role-playing game with lots and lots of loot to collect, customization of your character and weapons with ever-increasing levels and features. If, like me, you love that flash of yellow as you open another crate and randomly get rewarded a high-level exotic item, then Breakpoint is definitely for you, and it keeps going on this front. It's a very rewarding game if this is your sort of genre, and equally deserves the highest Rokk review reward of 5 out of 5. Finally, is the game good value? Breakpoint is a AAA title and as such comes with the usual price tag, but this is no 2-day completion experience. It took me in excess of 40 hours to complete the main story campaign alone, and I still have a ton of side missions and areas to explore. Also, Ubisoft occasionally roll out live events for all players at no extra cost. The most notable being a cross-promotion for the latest Terminator movie, which was very enjoyable. So from a value perspective, it keeps giving, and it's a huge amount of fun. For anybody who likes this genre, Breakpoint provides a huge amount for the price of admission and gets another 5 out of 5 for value. So this week's Rokk review title, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, gets an impressive 4 out of 5.